Welcome to the first episode of Loot Live. I'm Carlo, and joining me is Bruno.
Yo.
And we're re-recording this intro because the first one sucked. We're here as members of the LootLeague.com team, and we're going to discuss some esports and gaming news today. Enjoy! Bruno, you wanted to talk about the recent announcement Valve made about handling majors, minors, and their prize pools?
Yeah. I wanted to talk about. Basically, it all started with Toby's concerns about a month ago.
TobiWan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, to summarize, I'm gonna quote him a bit. All tournaments are eclipsed by Valve tournaments. Crowdfunding is now exclusive to Valve tournaments. Workshop artists are expressing issues, if not leaving the community. Majors are done by contractors and not by people who are building sustainable Dota communities outside of the majors. So the biggest issue there was you couldn't really work and earn good money in Dota if you weren't working on Valve events. And Valve actually responded to that like a week or two after.
That's pretty quick for them.
Yeah, where they introduced where they introduced majors. I mean, not majors, but more majors and additional smaller tournaments called minors. I think majors must have a minimum prize pool of 500k USD, and will receive an additional 500k towards the prize pool from Valve. Minors must have a minimum prize pool of 150k and will receive an additional 150k by Valve.
Yeah, so what I see in their post there is that they're taking the situation seriously. They want to grow the esports Dota community and decided to help out those tournaments by doubling their minimum prize pool.
Yeah.
But they also haven't really done anything about content creators, especially like workshop artists and item designers. And they seem to be completely removing the possibility of tournaments making their own compendiums, which could have potentially brought in more than 500k of a prize pool. Actually, likely would have for majors.
Yeah, definitely. If a compendium was very well done, had amazing items in it, had some sort of an engagement with the player base, then
like a battle pass.
Yeah. I think like an ESL tournament could reach 10 million easily with crowdfunding.
Especially as the scene grew and more people got into it.
Yeah. Basically, removing the crowdfunding aspect and they're not really supporting our workshop artists at all. If I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, workshop artists earn like 50% less than they did like 3 years ago.
I think so.
Yeah, which is kind of terrible because they can't really sustain themselves anymore. I'm not sure how Valve is going to handle that. I mean, they did handle the tournaments thingy correctly, I think. I hope so, at least, because the Cyborg Match list has a lot of different organizers like StarLadder, PGL, ESL, Perfect World, DreamHack, Mars TV, BTS, GESC. I have no idea who those are. And Epicenter. I think I covered all of them. And the prize pools are fine, going between 300k and 1.5 million.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of interesting to hear Perfect World in that group because, like, Beyond the Summit and pretty much everyone else I've heard of really handle their tournaments well.
Yeah.
Like they
Beyond the Summit, definitely. I'm not sure about the others. I think Epicenter had some issues in the past, but the last one was okay, I guess.
Yeah, well, Perfect World had a really massive hitch. It's probably the biggest. Well, not including Dota Pit 2.
To be fair, China is a mess.
Okay.
I mean, looking at their organization, looking at what happened to Wings Gaming, it's pretty fair to say they are a mess.
Yeah, well, their esports scene is definitely something that needs some arrangement, I guess. But I don't know. I feel like that's going to resolve itself with time.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
So is there anything else that we mentioned that Valve hasn't really responded to? I guess not really. I mean,
Yeah,
I
the
would.
biggest issues were crowdfunding,
Mhm,
majors, minors, and actually third-party organized tournaments, which they
mhm.
handled with minors and majors now.
Yeah, the crowdfunding was replaced by their doubling of the minimal prize
Yeah,
pool,
yeah,
and workshop artists just seem to be left alone in the dust, which is kind of sad because they were a big part of the community and they sped up the process
yeah.
of adding.
They still are.
Mhm.
But same with the custom games. I don't see Valve really supporting custom games at all. I guess you can count them into the workshop artists, just not items but games.
Yeah, I get that. Though custom games are always
Yeah.
tricky.
Though.
You don't want people to deviate from your product
Yeah.
to play other games. But I mean, that's how Dota came to be,
Yeah.
essentially from Warcraft 3. Like,
Yeah, I mean it's a community-driven game,
mhm.
so I think they should continue supporting the community that brought this game to where it's now. I mean, 23 or is it four already $1 million in prize pool money. That's breaking all the records in esports history
Yeah,
by a long shot. Like,
that's pretty absurd.
yeah, yeah,
But it's really cool
yeah,
to, to see. If you check out the most paid esports players, like Dota players just keep climbing up and pushing everyone below. Every international new 5 players are added if a new team wins, of course, and they
yeah.
become the top
Actually,
5.
first 25 spots of highest overall earnings are all Dota players. Then it's Faker, that famous League of Legends player.
Mhm.
Then again,
League
it's
is pretty big.
then again it's like 10 spots of Dota, one League of Legends, 5 spots of Dota, two League of Legends. Then again, 20 spots of Dota. Like the top 100 list is more than 50% Dota, I think.
Yeah, and it's just gonna be more overtaken by Dota players.
Yeah.
With
Yes.
each international, new players are added. So
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, so have you heard about the visa situation with Bulldog
Oh yeah.
and
I mean that that's an amazing situation. I mean it's a shitty situation, but it turned out amazing considering he's in Dubai now.
yeah, that like the end result is really kind of disconnected from the issues.
Yeah.
Well, basically for the people that don't know, uh, Bulldog, I believe he had a player visa or to go to the international,
Yeah.
but he's
He's
a caster
he
or
kind of
employed.
he kind of made a mistake of saying to the customs that he's there to work on the TI.
Yeah, by specifying. I mean, it's not his mistake.
Yeah.
He was just telling the truth. But the issue was that his visa didn't match that information. So basically, he couldn't get into the US, and that happens from time to time with esports. It's just not that simple to uh, organize so many visas for all esports players that are going to be on in the international.
Yeah, I mean, Valve even said in an interview they are working hard every year to get players to the international,
Mhm.
and it's I actually completely trust them here. I believe they are working their best to get the players there. It's just too damn hard right now, especially with all the drama about entering the US right now.
Yeah, it's getting progressively more difficult to even enter the US.
I'm
So
not sure though. I haven't followed the American politics for a while now.
okay, so you said you really liked Sayadin's explanation of what happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an explanation of what happened. Sedin had a
Yeah.
great explanation of on how visas work.
Hmm.
I'll link the video down in the description. I haven't had the time to watch her whole video. I just skipped over
To the main points, right?
over the main points to get a grasp of it. And I can understand how that happened to Bulldog, but it's kind of a mistake on both sides. Valve being bad with communication, which we know they always are, and Bulldog being too honest. Bulldog being the good guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he ended up in Dubai, so how bad can it be?
Yeah, I thought that was a joke. The picture looked photoshopped to me for some reason because Dubai is such an unreal background.
Yeah,
It looks so fake. It looks plastic, and I was like, "Ah, oh, nah, they're not there." Then I asked his manager this morning, "Hey Henry, is Bulldog really on TI?" Oh, and goddamn,
in Dubai, yeah.
in Dubai. It was like, yeah. He just sort of went, "Fuck it, I'm going to Dubai."
That's kind of amazing, though.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm glad he's able to do that.
I want to go
Like,
to Dubai.
yeah, you should.
Why?
You want to. I mean, isn't that reason enough?
Yeah. Also, something interesting that happened earlier this month was Cloud9 picking up Team NP,
Mm-hmm.
famous second place team.
Yeah.
So I kind of knew about that 2 months in advance. Actually, 2 months in advance, there were two organizations who were interested in picking up
Must be nice to be connected.
A Dota team. And I'm glad Cloud9, NP went with Cloud9
Mm-hmm.
just because of the memes, nothing else.
Yeah,
Nothing
I can
else.
respect that completely.
Yeah.
Like the CEO is just meme-tastic. So
I mean, the CEO is a cool guy. Cloud9 is a very professional organization, unlike many others, unfortunately. So I'm glad they got picked up by someone who can actually manage them, and not some random org that is just a placeholder, nothing else, in my opinion.
yeah,
I don't want to name anyone right now, but I probably am going to in the future if enough people piss me off.
That's not a nice threat. Well, there's always this question that I think viewers and pretty much, well, Dota players think of as why aren't there so many player-run teams? And I mean, from our point of view, we understand how much time goes into management. But it's not really that obvious. So
Nope.
would you care to expand on that?
No. Basically, I mean, all viewers have a certain point of view, which is basically this guy went on this tournament with his team. They won the tournament. They had a couple of posts on social media. Bravo! While they didn't see how tough it was to work out the sponsorships for everything, work out the travel, work out the accommodation,
I'd say that
the paycheck, everything.
Actually, there's an issue with player-run teams quite often where they're not open to sponsorships.
I wouldn't say that's too often. I've seen.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know what you mean. It's not a common thing, but it sort of comes up more because they don't have the time to handle it. It's not that often a case. You're right.
They try to get sponsorships first 3 months. They get lots of offers, but if they turn those down after 3 months or so, they don't have the time to approach anyone, and they don't have the time to respond to anyone approaching them.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, the issue is, I on average, I guess 3 months is when they realize, okay, we need an organization to actually run us, to get us into events, to get us on interviews, to get us anything really. Even bootcamp houses. Like, try organizing a bootcamp house. Try bringing all the players in. Try getting their visas. If you're a captain of a team that's trying to have practices like 8 hours a day, 6 or 7 days a week, you're not gonna get that. You're not. I mean, you can have someone standing in for you, but you're the captain, so kind of pointless to practice without you so much time.
Yeah, usually the captain would be the one to run that kind of thing. And you have to consider, even just talking to sponsors will take hours of your time.
Yeah. I mean, even organizing scrims against teams, they have team managers who do that. They don't have the time to organize scrims. I mean, some do, but I'd say most just have a manager. Hey, want to play with our guys? Sure.
And that's, if you consider it, that's even just the basics. You need to be able to play against teams and play with your team to improve, right? Yes. But there's also so many aspects that you would need to take care of to make sure your team is doing the best they can. Like, oftentimes, especially today, it's getting more and more popular to get esports professionals to start caring about their fitness because
Yeah, definitely. Have you seen Freakazoid in CS:GO?
yeah, and
God
Pasha.
damn! Oh my god, those guys have guns.
Yeah, well, it's
I'm
really like
jealous. I'm jealous.
oh,
Ugh.
that don't show your arms. That's creepy.
God
Uh,
damn, dude. That's you can't.
I, my bad. I mean, but if you think about it, like physical fitness is genuinely important for mental health,
Yeah.
like for your brain, and
I mean, in the long run, yes.
yes, of course, but it also really helps you with keeping your arms healthy, which can give out pretty quickly, especially with issues like carpal tunnel and similar problems.
Yeah.
Especially if you're spending so much time at your PC, like even just stretching can help with that massively. So actually being fit helps a lot. But
Yeah.
you also have to,
To be fair,
yeah.
a counterpoint.
Mhm.
If you look at our sex god Dosia from Gambit, you don't need to be physically fit.
Yeah. Uh, I see your point, but that's not really the only part that's
Sorry, Dosia.
recently becoming important. At least that's recently becoming popular in esports. They're also hiring PR teams and social media
Yeah.
managers, which is obviously important. You want to grow the team's popularity,
Yeah.
and also psychologists to just handle the inner chemistry, drama, and problems players might have.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy when you're one of the best people in the world, and your team might not be. It's easy to get the full head and just talk down to them, be completely intolerable, and that's really not what you want if you want good team communication.
Yeah.
So a psychologist is actually surprisingly useful in that scenario.
Yeah, I wouldn't know straight up. I've never been to one, but I encourage everyone who thinks they have an actual issue to go. The people I knew who went to a psychologist really had it really helped them. I think there's a stigma in our society about that, about going to a psychologist to help you out.
Yeah, well, that's kind of interesting. Like everyone thinks that all people go to psychiatrists and all people take like antidepressants, but it's actually super rare for that to happen. Especially people who need them most would usually avoid them because of a sense of pride. It almost feels like cheating to take them,
Yeah.
and that's not a good way to think about it. If something can help you now, that's kind of a good idea. Though that this kind of a
Yeah, this is
tangent.
this kind of the rails.
Yeah.
Anyways, we also had a recent another recent tweet by Cyborg Matt about
Yeah, 3 tweets actually. We're gonna probably post them up right now,
yeah
so you can see them.
yeah.
You can read
I'm
through
gonna read them out. A couple more points from this morning's meeting. Quote: We would like to move a lot quicker on new hero development. We feel like the meta overall is in great shape, but new heroes are an area that has not gone as quickly as we would like. Next up, end quote. Volvo also wants to focus on improving the new user experience, an area that they admit needs a lot of work right now. Now, those are
nice touch with Volvo, by the way.
those are 2 good points. I mean, I'm extremely happy about the hero development stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I can't begin to explain how excited I am for new heroes in Dota, just because we get them so rarely, and I like change. I like huge and sudden change. It's fun. It's fun playing when it's chaotic and no one knows what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, I can attest to that. Like,
yeah, that's when I enjoy Dota the most.
Definitely. In pretty much every game, even from Hearthstone to Dota, like when a big patch hits and no one knows what to do, that's when you can be the most engaged in finding your own ways to handle things.
Yeah, definitely.
Eventually, everything kind of crystallizes and becomes mundane and repetitive, and that's when players can get really good at what's good.
Yeah.
But you can't really come up with new strategies often.
Yeah.
You can sometimes. I mean, there are people who are amazing innovators. Like, I mean, with Alliance in was it TA3?
Yeah.
They basically just took the whole tournament by storm
Yeah.
by applying a playstyle that fit them specifically, and that was good in that meta game.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's not really common that you can do that. So
Good old days where when Navi was in finals.
yeah,
Uh,
I like Navi, man. I really
I
like
mean,
Dendi.
I like Dendi. That's pretty much
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Dendi is
That's.
such an amazing person. I would love to drink a beer with him. That's it. I just want to go on a beer with Dendi. That's
Do
my
you mean vodka?
yes.
Da. No.
If I
Uh,
had to pick a personality in Dota that I would like to hang out with, I'm pretty sure it would be Dendi.
mhm.
Maybe Sing Sing too.
So
He's too busy masturbating though.
yeah, let's get back on the hero topic a bit. Like I've been thinking about this for a while now. Well, since I saw the posts, which are pretty recent, so you might have missed them.
Yeah.
But I'm not really sure how they would balance the frequency at which heroes would be released. Well, there's a few things that need balancing. First of all, adding them to captain's mode can only happen once they're actually balanced.
Yeah.
Secondly, you don't want to push the developers or the design team specifically to produce heroes too quickly, because they won't be able to come up with a really original a really original design, which I've personally seen in quite a few games for now. Like you can specifically see it in Smite and what was the game you were talking about? Battle Right,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, well, Battle Right is a special case on its own because they try to keep heroes balanced by keeping abilities all somewhat similar.
Yeah.
And
The game is fun for a day or two, but gets boring after that just because there's no uniqueness.
well, I'd say
you can play everything in a week.
I can. I'd say it can be fun for a longer time if you're really into that very similar little advantage competitive style.
Yeah, I mean,
which I feel it is very similar to Doom or Quake in a sense, because everything in Quake Champions, everything's sort of similar.
Yeah.
But you still have the ability to improve, which is for some people, but it's obviously not the model most people like. People like to play Monkey King and Techies and Invoker and Pudge. People want to play a hero that feels so different to what they already have that there's nothing to compare it with in the game.
Yeah.
Like that feeling of playing against Pudge when you hear his chains and you shit your pants because you're terrified of it. You're just, oh my god, I'm gonna get hooked. No, that's something that doesn't come if a hero isn't specifically well designed and unique.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say uniqueness of heroes, champions, or whatever is one of the biggest issues in modern MOBAs. I played a lot of them. For example, I took a break from Dota 1 just before Dota 2 released, so I played League of Legends somewhere between 2009 to 2011 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing I disliked there was that Riot kind of forces champion roles. You can't like play an alchemist support if he's designed to be played as a carry and stuff like that. That's something that really bothered me, especially as so many of for example, AD carries had a specific role, had a specific skill set which was so similar to other AD carries. Same goes with mids. Same goes with the whole setup. Actually, they've had tanky solo top, ability power I think mid, then a tanky DPS jungle, and an AD carry. Ranged AD carry because they don't have turn rates, so they can't have melee carries, and a hard support on bottom, and that setup I think still lasts today. I'm pretty sure. So The lack of uniqueness and change in League of Legends is what most bothered me. I tried out Smite, and while I would say I enjoyed it more than League of Legends, I still didn't enjoy it nearly as close as Dota. Battle Right was a game for 1 week, and that's it. I felt like I played everything. I mean, I still think it's a fun game if you want a quick team fight that lasts for 15 minutes, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, Dota Master Race. No, I'm kidding. I actually played LOL and Heroes of the Storm. I really didn't like that much. I mean, it's fun to spam your abilities and be like, yeah, you get a kill, but there's a disconnect between MOBAs and Heroes of the Storm for me. Like every MOBA I've played.
Oh yeah, I played a game of Heroes of the Storm and then uninstalled the game. I had like 40 kills or something like that. It was disgusting. I was like, fuck this.
If you're looking to play a challenging MOBA, I wouldn't say Heroes of the Storm is exactly what you're looking for. Yeah, it can be challenging.
I think Dota and League of Legends are your go-to choices.
Mm-hmm. I'd agree there.
No matter how much people want to bash League of Legends, it's still a much deeper game than other MOBAs, except Dota, of course.
Yeah, well, I personally...
It takes a lot of knowledge to get it going.
I personally liked both League and Smite quite a lot. And, I preferred Dota at the time. I'm not sure that I would still. But I feel like there's a place for all of those games, and which is obvious. I mean, there's so many people playing each of them, and it doesn't seem like those numbers are drastically going to change anytime soon.
Yeah.
All of them seem to be growing in popularity, which is kind of absurd.
Yeah.
Like, is there enough people in the world to support those numbers?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are. But I mean, it's kind of fascinating how much the MOBA genre grew over the past 10 or so years.
People want games that require actual skill and knowledge, where you have to put in hundreds of hours just to understand the basics. That's why I don't believe Overwatch is ever going to be an actual competitive esport. It's not. I'll try to compare Overwatch to Counter-Strike.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in Counter-Strike, you have an extremely balanced game, extremely balanced teams, on maps that were redesigned countless times over the past 17, 18 years. So Counter-Strike is insanely balanced and has an amazing replay value. You can't really get bored of it just because the skill cap is so goddamn high.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get that feeling from Overwatch. I didn't get nearly the same feeling from Overwatch.
I know what you mean.
You have an insanely high skill cap, but you get bored trying to get that.
I don't feel the same about Overwatch. I honestly believe that the only issue I have with Overwatch is the downtime. When I die, I don't want to wait for 10 seconds to respawn. And then I don't want to wait 15 more seconds to get back into the action, because most characters, Tracer and I guess Pharah, there's actually Soldier is really fast. Many characters can get back into the action quite quickly. But I'm a disgusting Hanzo main, so don't listen to my advice on this. But especially with characters like Hanzo and McCree. McCree can even roll, but he's super slow when getting back to the action. And that's just not what you want in a fast-paced action game. Like, if Overwatch was a bit closer to Quake, I would absolutely adore that game. Because while it isn't as balanced as Counter-Strike, it's super diverse.
Yeah.
And
but
considering
it's slow as
the downtime is a problem. But when you're in the middle of the action, you can actually play heroes like I guess Widow and Hanzo are really the best cases for this, even though Widow is useless unless you're surprisingly good with her, and Hanzo is just kind of gimmicky, but he's actually kind of decent, though it's a meme to hate on him. I mean, he's kind of shit, and everyone who plays him should die, including myself. But whatever.
Goddamn.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of depressed just thinking about
Yeah.
myself being a Hanzo main. Well, it's kind of interesting to play a game where headshotting, for example, Roadhog or Winston,
Yeah.
doesn't really kill them, and you do a lot of damage. And you can headshot them again, and you might not kill them, though you probably will with Widow and Hanzo if you charge the rifle enough with
Yeah.
Widow.
Yeah.
But it's still possible to team wipe the opponents, which is so satisfying.
Yeah.
But it seems like Blizzard is consistently patching out solo play. They want the game to be competitive and team based, which is all right. I mean, that's completely acceptable. But cutting out the ability to win a fight solo with is kind of it's kind of counterproductive to the user experience. You want to feel like a badass at times. You want to go in with Genji, use your ultimate, and just slice through the enemy team. Each time you get a kill, your dash resets and you charge in the other way and slice again. It feels so exciting when you use a powerful ult and wipe the opponent, the enemy team.
Yeah.
But they seem to be adding more and more abilities to just prevent that from being a possibility, which kind of puts the game uh, like below what I'd consider its potential, like heavily. Actually, I would say that it's not even close to reaching its potential when it comes to FPSs. I think it's actually super polished. Of course, it's a Blizzard game, and it has the ability to become something that everyone will want to play, but it doesn't seem like it will.
I understand what you're saying, but I still think it's a casual game. I don't think it's an
Mhm.
esport. I don't see it as an esport, and I don't think it's ever going to come close to being an esport. I might be wrong, and I hope I am because I want esports to grow as much as possible. But to me, it's like seeing Clash of Clans as an esport. Just
Okay, I wouldn't agree there. I think that there's so much skill in Overwatch, and it's really entertaining to watch good players play.
yeah,
But
I can understand that.
I do believe that Blizzard made some pretty big mistakes with trying to promote the
Oh
esports.
yeah, we should get into that some other podcast probably, mostly because Loot League is a topic in itself.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Uh,
let's just leave that for some other time.
yeah. Okay. Well, I wanted one more thing to. I wanted to ask you one more thing about the heroes coming out sooner and more often, at least in Dota.
Yeah, I think every 6 months should be fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Like,
that's exactly where I wanted to go with this. Like,
yeah,
I'm thinking about it. There are games that release heroes bi-weekly and monthly at times. Like, Smite can come out with 3 heroes in a month, which is a bit too quick
I
for a
think
competitive game.
yeah, I don't think you can go competitive with that. You don't have time to balance it out. Even with a
Mm-hmm.
god like Ice Frog balancing it, I don't believe he would be able to handle like 3 hero releases a month and keep it balanced. I mean, you can do that. First off, heroes are not going to be unique. That's it. Full stop.
Yeah,
They're not going to be unique if you release 3 heroes a month.
unless
I mean,
they, yeah.
Play Dota
Mhm.
is full of hero suggestions. There is a crap ton of unique ideas. So you can actually release unique heroes, but they're going to be unbalanced for quite a while. They're not going to be Captain's Mode material anytime
Yeah.
soon. Uh,
By that you mean
I think
they
I
won't be
think
picked or they won't be added to Captain's Mode?
they won't be added.
Because
No, no
because
way.
they're not balanced.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think the minimum should be 6 months. I think that's enough time for Valve to actually balance stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and they can slowly release them to Captain's Mode as they feel they're balancing them.
Mm-hmm.
That should be enough time, in my opinion, at least. It
Yeah.
might be more actually. Might be once a year, but if we know for sure that we're gonna get a hero every year, the right now the progress is just too slow. We get a hero, then for 2 years we don't get one, then we get 2 heroes, then again.
Yeah, it's really inconsistent
Yeah.
and kind of
Yeah.
random chance.
Yeah. I mean, they're extremely unique. It's just that I love chaos so much and new patches. That's basically when I play Dota the most. When a huge patch hits, a new hero comes, everything in is absolute chaos. No one knows what the hell to do, and that's when I have had the most fun in Dota by a margin, definitely.
Yeah, I think I'm mistaken when I say this. I'm aware that I'm mistaken, actually, but I feel like I'd personally enjoy it the most if heroes came out every 3 or so months. I just want the chaos to persist.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
You know, I really
We should copy some League of Legends heroes. I think we have a right to do so.
like which
They have some unique champions. I mean, I'd say I dislike most of them. At least I would dislike them in Dota. But Orianna is pretty unique. Basically, it's a champion that has a ball on its own. She throws some sort of a ball somewhere, and her abilities are connected to the ball and where she left it. It's a pretty unique hero. I'd say Lee Sin is unique. He would be unique if they didn't have other tanky DPS jumpers, but I like him because he's just a left-right. He's like a tanky puck, sort of.
Yeah, we don't really have one of those. Like, I feel like
we don't have tanky gap closers. I mean,
I feel like Tusk was that before, but
Yeah,
he's kind of fallen into a support role almost. I would really enjoy Tusk to be a carry, but he's not really.
I don't know. I think I enjoy Tusk the most when I roam.
I guess Huskar is a gap closer.
I like action. Yeah, but you need a gap closer in basic abilities, not as an ultimate. I think.
The ult is really low cooldown.
Huskar is with an Aghanim Scepter. I think that's.
Yeah, that's no cooldown basically.
Yeah.
What is it?
But
6 seconds or something?
I enjoy Tuskar the most when I roam, just because he feels like a hero. He feels like a minute one hero. I should be in action right from the start.
Yeah, 4 seconds with Aghanims and 12 without.
Yeah, that's. I mean, 4 seconds.
No, he's pretty weak, I guess. He's been nerfed consistently.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. We're gonna see later today. Or wait, did the TI game start? We should probably end this and go watch that.
Make sure to check out lootleague.com. It's a free site where you can predict esports match winners, earn points, and win prizes. Good luck!